Now back to our top story. Voters in 6 states are casting ballots in several key primary races. Connecticut and Vermont are holding primaries for governor and House seats. South Carolina is having a special primary to replace late Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. And Alabama is holding its postponed House primaries after the state revised its congressional maps. It follows a May Supreme Court ruling that said it's unconstitutional to draw district lines based on race. But the spotlight is mainly on Minnesota and Wisconsin, where Democrats will go head-to-head in the battle over changing ideologies within the party. Here's what voters in some of these states are saying.
We really need leaders that are going to challenge the norm right now, I believe, and rethink, reimagine, recreate something new.
I think for most primary voting, what I would really like to see is ranked choice voting, just to have less extremism and more people that are kind of in the middle.
This election is very important because we're looking to replace someone who's going to take care of the people of South Carolina.
CBS News political director Fin Gómez joins us now. So, Fin, in Minnesota, you've got moderate Congresswoman Angie Craig facing progressive Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan for the Senate nomination. For the Dems in Wisconsin, Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong going up against moderate David Crowley to be the first Democratic Socialist governor in the U.S. What are you watching for in these races? Because it feels like every sort of race paints a different picture. Yes. It's not like this whole blanket statement we can make for all of America.
Oh, wow. I mean, Lindsay, I think you're dead on, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, look, there are a lot of big questions tonight. I think one of the biggest questions that we're watching is what we saw in Michigan last week that you reported on extensively here a week ago. In the win by El Sayed, the progressive in that race, if that carries over to these other Midwestern battlegrounds, if you will. Is that broader shift going to move to the Democratic Party voters in Minnesota? I mean, you have two different arguments right now, as you mentioned, of how Democrats can win. Peggy Flanagan, of course, is arguing that voters want a bolder, more progressive Democratic Party willing to take on the establishment, willing to take on Donald Trump. Angie Craig is making the electability argument central to her campaign. Democrats don't pass progressive policies on this unless they first win elections. And she has been pointing to her own record of repeatedly winning in a competitive congressional district, a purple district like much of the state. Then, of course, you have next door in Wisconsin. It's another version of the same fight. Francesca Hong, a self-described Democratic Socialist, versus David Crowley, who's more of establishment, more moderate, if you will, Democrat in that race. And that remains one of the biggest battlegrounds, of course, Wisconsin does in the country. Both races are being watched nationally as tests of which direction the Democratic Party is going. And so if Flanagan and Hong both have strong nights today, I think you can make an argument after El Sayed's win in Michigan that there is this continuing momentum that the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is having right now in this midterm cycle, Lindsay.
And then we'll have to see what happens in November in the generals. So what are you watching in South Carolina?
Look, I love South Carolina. It's like one of my favorite primary states. I've done extensive reporting there, but it's also like uniquely different because in this specific race, in this snap primary, President Trump has placed himself directly into the race to replace his friend, the late Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham's sister, as you know, Darlene Graham, was appointed to temporarily fill in the seat by Governor McMaster and is now running for the full term in this crowded Republican primary to succeed her brother. She's never held elected office. She's been an advocate for people with disabilities for years, but she has something enormously valuable, I think, in this Republican primary, and that's President Trump's endorsement. Yes, some have gone astray, if you will, but overwhelmingly, for the most part, this midterm cycle, his endorsements still carry a lot of weight in these Republican primaries. You saw that last night with the tele-rally that he held for her. So really, what I'm watching is if Darlene Graham can hit 50%, what we've been tracking in the limited polls that we've seen, Lindsay, is that there's no one really getting to that 50% mark tonight. So that means that will likely, that if there's no winner and if no one hits that 50% threshold, we're going to the runoff on August 25th. So it could likely be her and one of those conservative congressmen that have been challenging her. But again, there's many layers there, of course, because as you know, it is a presidential primary state in both parties. So both parties are reading the tea leaves. Both parties are reading like what pulled voters and mobilized voters in this snap election. South Carolina, I love it. One of the best political states in the country.
Fin Gómez, thanks so much.